Hello and welcome back to part 3 of the Corvette Restoration Diary video series. So, it's 2017. We're almost finished up with that year. And what I got done in the last episode is I got a key made for the door. And I saw some comments in part 2. And what I could have done is went to the dealership and showed them my VIN. And they would have just made a key. I didn't think that GM did that for cars this old as mine, because mine's an 87, but maybe. So you might want to give that a try instead of doing what I did and ripping a lock cylinder out. But that way does work. Another big job I got done in part 2 was adjusting the exhaust. I had to cut the pipe, I had to bend it back, and I had to re-weld it so it was at the correct angle. So now I have no more exhaust leaks. And I got a new door spring installed, so now my door will open and close and stay open the way it's supposed to. And don't forget, at the end of this video, I'll have the total for everything that I spent on the car thus far for the entire year of 2017. It's not a ton. It's more than I would expect, and the price tag just continues to increase over the years until it just gets astronomically high, as you will see. So I'm in the final stages of getting my passenger door all put back together. One of the things on the bezel that I also needed to fix was the mounting point for the door wiper switch. I did a little hack on it with some zip ties to hold it together temporarily, and it was just a temporary solution because a couple years later it broke and I had to completely re-plastic weld the whole thing to make it work. And you will see that in the 2021 year whenever we get there. But for now, just rest assured the switch is reinstalled. Good enough. And I cleaned and plastic welded the screws on the bezel, so it does look better. Not great, but it does look better. Then I started going off on a little bit of a tangent because I'm actually working on the door, and I noticed that the switch that controls the window for the driver door, the top of it's completely broken off. The switch works, but it's not attractive. So I had to get to the center console, tear all those bezels out to get to that. So I did replace that broken window switch, so it looks better. And these things are cheap, too. I even made it to a Cars and Coffee event, not as a participant, but the car made it without breaking down. So now that I got this window switch repaired, I need to put my whole center console back together, because if I continue to leave it apart, I will stay in here and fix even more things instead of getting the door put back together. Because what always happens to me is, as soon as I get into something, I tear it apart and notice some things that are in there that could be fixed while I'm here, and then next thing I know, 5 years later, the car's in even more pieces. So I gotta get this thing back together before that happens. I don't know what's going on with my other switches in here. I do know that like the switches for the seat aren't working at all, and the switches for the mirror on the outside aren't working at all. So I will get back to those at a later point. And for some mysterious reason, when I had this all taken apart, the radio started working. Now I can listen to tunes. And something else that is broken right now is the climate control system, the electronic climate control system. It seems to be completely unresponsive, so I'll have to take it apart and look at it. But not now. I got to get this thing back together first. Now, I would like to be able to drive the car in the evening someday, so that means I need to fix the headlights. Right now, the headlights turn on, but neither motor that rotates them works. So I tested all the wires that fed the driver's side and the passenger side, and all the wires going to the motor were putting out the proper voltage to make them work, but nothing was happening. So it's more than likely just the motors. And here's the pinout that I used. This is for an 87. This should be the same for 87 and older cars, and it will probably be different in 88 because there was a motor change in 88 with the dreaded gear that always goes bad in them. Mine doesn't have that gear problem because it's a different design. So if you want to test the pinout on the wire, so when you pull the headlight and it's on, that's basically sending up to the headlight, and you'll have power on the green wire, and the white wire will be your negative wire. Push the headlight switch in, you'll then have power or positive on the gray wire, and the green wire will become negative. That's what you need to hook up your multimeter to in order to be able to test these wires. So I went ahead and pulled the whole driver's side assembly off of the hood to do some bench testing on it. Still wasn't working. while it was on the bench, disassembled the headlight motor, and inside of it found that the brushes were completely gone. So definitely something that I don't have lying around that I can fix myself. So I need to send it in to have it refurbished or rebuilt. So the best deal that I was able to find at the time was a dude on eBay, $100, and you can have your core rebuilt. So I went ahead and ordered one of those, and I'll send him back my core. So I don't know anything about this guy, so I just got one because I don't know if it's going to work properly or not. So I have the whole headlight assembly out, and I'm kind of walking by, and I'm looking through that big gap in the hood, and I noticed that my wheel well was not sealing properly. You know, it's kind of with the clamshell will close, and the top and the bottom of the wheel well is supposed to completely seal to keep water from going inside your engine bay, right? Well, mine's got about a good at least 1-inch gap inside of there. That's not right. Looking around at some more, I notice there's some hood alignment issues, and there's just really no way to get these things to close with any kind of adjustment that I can see. So that leads me to believe that this is not the hood that came with the car. So once again, I'm remembering back to some of my stories when I was buying the car. Tom told me he had lots of other C4s lying around. So I'm guessing he must have been a good hood on this car and put a crummy hood on this car. So I'm guessing it had more chips on it or something like that. I'm pretty sure this is the wrong hood for this car, and that's why it's all out of alignment and everything. So I'll need to go back and fix this at some point. Again, thanks, Tom. So a new Puddle Lights came in for my driver's side door. For whatever reason, the harnesses are different on these things. I don't know why. But the one I bought came with both ends of the harness, so I just went ahead and clipped those and spliced it in. Okay, so it's Father's Day. So, of course, the perfect drink from the 90s, driving around my 80s Corvette. Happy Father's Day to me. So after I had spliced the wires together from the Puddle Light, I noticed that this is actually the passenger side Puddle Light. I ordered the wrong one, and that's why it has the wrong clip on it. So I'll have to get another one. My rebuilt headlight motor is already in, so I went ahead and installed that. And guess what?
I want to show you something magical that I haven't been able to do before. Check this out. Woohoo! Motor works. Now you notice I'm a Cyclops. Only got one going, but now that I know what needs to be done, I just need to get that other motor ordered in, and they will both work. So now technically I guess I can drive at night with one light. Bam.
So now that my door is all ready to be put back together, I can put on my super expensive and probably not 100% needed foam rain guard on the door. Like I said, I could have probably just used some plastic and it would have been fine. So I got the correct door Puddle Light in now and spliced it back with the original harness back the way it's supposed to be in there. I really hate cutting original harnesses and putting them back the way they were. I just hate splicing wires when you don't need to. It's just such a mess and can cause more problems later on down the road. But that's how you learn, I guess. Part of the clip also broke off of it as well on the door handle bezel, where the light actually goes inside of it. A piece of the plastic broke off of that to secure the light. So I just drilled a couple holes, used some mechanics wire, and problem solved. And to this day, it's still hooked up like that. It works. I'll fix it later. I also found some pretty cheap window defrost vents on eBay. These are just the little things that blow on your window when the defrost is on. They're super cheap, super easy to replace. Now, I'm not driving the car around too much, and the heater doesn't work right now anyways, but it does look a little bit better. And that's all that matters, right? So now here we are getting towards the end of the year. This is October. Haven't really been driving the car that much at this point. I had to charge the battery. The car was completely dead. I just had it sitting for too long without it starting. Once I charged it up, it did start. So it needs to have just about a full charge for this car to turn over. It's got to be some computer thing, I'm guessing. And then I also noticed that the tail lights were blown and they were not turning on. So I replaced the fuse and they blew again right away. So this isn't going to be a fast fix to fix the tail lights or the running lights. This is a pretty big deal, and it looks like the front lights aren't working either. So I just went ahead and canceled the insurance on it, and I guess that she is done for the season. So right now I just don't have a lot of time in my life to be working on the car. So hopefully I can get back to her pretty soon, and I'll just leave her parked in the garage in the meantime. All right, here we go. As promised, this is the end of the year, 2017, and the totals of everything that I've spent on the car thus far. So all these things are from Rock Auto unless otherwise noted, and this was back in 2017, so the prices are not going to be current. The computer, that cost me $230, and that was without the EEPROM in it, but that was a GM factory rebuilt one. My target top, that was rather expensive, and this is also including the shipping. The target top rebuild was around $500, but all the shipping back and forth came about to $606 altogether. Same guy still does this service. I believe it's $450 now, but you know, it's going to cost you a pretty penny to ship it there and have it shipped back. Mass airflow sensor, that cost me $186 for a real genuine GM Bosch one. Ignition control module, $46. And to have my headlight motor rebuilt by some random guy on eBay, $97. That's not including the core or anything like that. That's just to have the motor. So grand total for 2017 that I've spent on the car so far, $1,185. It's obviously going to be a little bit higher than that because there's going to be things like the filters and gas filters, other things in here that I didn't even have listed. So this is a low estimate of what it cost in year one. And of course, the adventure continues for 2018.
Okay, I'm almost home now. First time driving in a snowstorm. Actually, the nice thing about this is I found out some new places that I got to buy some more rubber for. So it's leaking like crazy down here on this side by the footwell and this side by the footwell.
So thanks for hanging out. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like. See you soon.